Never thirsty. Never thirsty.
I went to a show a few years ago to see Billie Eilish. This is before she like blew up, obviously. And she was playing, and I was the oldest person there by about 20 years. It was all like people there, you know. But my friend worked with her, and I got tickets, and I went to go check out his act. So, you know, it obviously worked out well for him. But you can see when you're there, these kids are going absolutely nuts for this girl, and they know every word to her song, and you can see that something is happening here. And so that was the magic probably in the 90s as well. Like you'd go to a club and you could see, you look around, how is the room reacting? Are they going crazy for this band? Like there's a way to sort of say, like, I could scale this, right?
Sure. And sometimes you sometimes you go see a band and everyone's going crazy and you think the opposite. You're like, this is some sort of regional thing and I can't scale it. You know, you got to make that guess as well. And then sometimes you go see a band and there's, you know, tumbleweeds blowing through the place, and you think, you know, I think these guys could reach a, you know, that's why it's a, you know, it's a game that's got a lot of variables to it, you know, and I know from the outside it sounds easy because people see the bands when they're presented to the public, finished product. You know, they've had a couple of years of development, you've had them working, and people sign, like, of course you would sign that band. That's a great band. You don't understand. When I saw them in a club, I mean, they were like, you know, they had a, you know, they were playing on tin pans and they had, you know, so it is a lot more difficult.
Like some of the most popular overnight success bands, I would say, I would venture to put a number of like 90% on this, that 90% of these overnight success bands have been at it for 10 years. It wasn't
over a few nights.
Absolutely.
Like Maroon 5. You know, Maroon 5 was around for a while before they, you know, even their record was out for like a year before it blew up.
And they had they were actually another band called, I don't remember, Cara's Flowers or something like that, who were signed, put a record out, did the thing, didn't do anything, were dropped. And that's all part of the process, right? They kept getting better, writing better, you know, honing their craft, and then put the right record out the right time, got the radio play, and, you know, now they're, you know, a known entity. So, yeah.
So now you're doing this. Now you're doing the syncs. Well, not now. You've been doing it for almost 20 years. So
yes,
basically, let's break down for people, for the layman out there who don't know even what a sync is. A sync, that is, if I'm saying this correctly, a sync is when you hear a song on a television show or a movie or in a commercial. That is called a sync, correct?
Yeah, the sync is short for synchronization or synchronizing to a visual medium. So that is sync. So yeah, I represent music and try to get it into any kind of visual medium, mostly TV and film. That's our bread and butter. But I do advertising, video games, you know, online stuff, you know, the YouTube shorts and things like that. So yeah, that's go ahead.
How does somebody, like, you know, I got to be honest, you know, I watch a lot of TV and like a lot of songs are like so that get on TV, and I'm like, how did that song get on? So is there like quality control that's like doesn't exist within certain productions, and then other productions are a lot more like, you know what I mean? It's like, sometimes I'm just like, what is this?
Well, I don't know what TV you're watching exactly. Sure, there's quality control across the board, because the one thing about sync is the first line is the music supervisor, right? That's the first place that your music is going to go to. And if the music supervisor likes it, they're going to bring it in, and probably the director and several producers also have to like it, right? So there's a lot of cooks in that kitchen. Look, I don't know. Most of the supervisors I work with, I think, are great, have great taste, and you know, in some ways, the music supervisors are, you know, cooler than you know, I don't know, the radio stations or whatever, because they'll play stuff that isn't straight up commercial. right? I mean, they're serving an emotion and a visual. They're not trying to make a radio programmer in, you know, wherever, North Carolina happy, right? So in a lot of ways, you'll hear more adventurous stuff, you know. Like I said, I don't know what you're hearing, why you feel so crappy.
Well, you know, have you ever seen the show? Have you seen the show Nathan for You? Do you know that show?
What is it called?
Nathan for You. Do you know that show, Nathan for You?
Nathan for You. Is that what you said? Because you're kind of you're sort of buffering a little bit. I thought you said Naked for You at first, and I was going to say that's a whole different vibe.
It's a different vibe. No, Nathan for You is a show that was on Comedy Central. A comedian named Nathan Fielder, and he purposely picks the worst songs like to put on his show. Like it's part of the creative is to have bad, sort of like cheesy songs from, you know, indescript artists on his show. But it's not all like that. Is there examples of artists that you can think of that sort of broke having their song placed? I mean, there's got to be for sure in the 2006 to 2012 MTV era. There's probably, you know, a band had a song on one of those like The Hills or something.
Yeah, no. There's a number of artists, and I'm probably not going to be able to remember anybody's name just because I deal with so many artists. But there were a number of artists that, you know, I mean, look, one of the things in breaking a record, when I was working at a record company, you know, the marketing department will always tell you it's multiple impressions that break a band. You know, not one thing's going to do it. So if you can get a good placement, you know, combined with radio play, maybe some advertising, you know, maybe you were getting on MTV when they had music, you combine that together. But there are certainly artists that have. Apple commercials at one point were amazing for artists. Like if you were a new artist and you got in one of those commercials, it was a great marketing device. Sure. Amazing. Again, I'll try to think if I can think of somebody where sync is really what broke their career, but I don't know. Nothing comes.
But syncs definitely break their bank account.
Never thirsty.